Good afternoon. So, the process for writing goal outcomes reflection. And let me see here. I relied on prior experiences of researching the origins of holidays and how they developed and merged with other cultural practices. Specifically, we're looking at Halloween and the Day of the Dead. Because of their similarities and differences, they both have to do with honoring those who had passed on and symbolism. So we have many traditions that we take part in, and we often forget the origin of these practices, which can cause misconceptions about the holiday, which again is Halloween in this case, and the Day of the Dead. By learning more about the origins, we can learn how Halloween has changed and in what ways it has stayed the same over the course of 2,000 years. It really didn't reach America here until the 19th century. So, what did it mean to those who began the traditions, and how does it connect with similar traditions of the Day of the Dead, which began with the Aztecs in Central America and the lower parts of North America, which is actually, if you look at New Orleans and parts of Florida, it's a huge deal over there, the Day of the Dead, and it's kind of become a bit of a part of Halloween as well. So, which is why we're going to be comparing and contrasting the two. So there are some terrific resources to draw from as we move through the topic, and my examples are there's archives, online archives, museums, journals, artifacts that we can draw from to understand these cultural practices. So my goals are clear, measurable, and attainable because I use verbiage that cannot be interpreted in any other way than what they actually mean. For example, explain the origins of Halloween and the Day of the Dead. So my students will explain the origins of those two cultural practices or holidays, which means go to the beginning. And the learner will research both holidays and compare them. How are they similar? How are they different? They will recognize the origins of both traditions. So if they say something, well, they'll be able to kind of connect it to that. So second, they'll recognize the importance of Halloween throughout its history and present how it has become an important tradition. They will document their findings, write them down through pictures or anything, and document those sources. And they will be able to speak clearly with confidence on these traditions that they will learn about. They'll analyze the effects that Halloween has had on modern Northern and Central American culture. They will identify when and how Halloween adopted new traditions, not originally practiced, and what stands, the same. So, and they'll be able to compare and contrast the differences between the past and present. For example, as I think I had mentioned that Halloween didn't really come to America until the 19th century and 20th centuries. So trick-or-treating, I think, actually started here in the, let's say in the 1950s, or it could have been the 1930s. I can't remember which, but that's kind of a rough wide guesstimate. So, how and why are the module learning outcomes going to help students achieve the course learning outcomes on which the module learning outcomes are based? Well, the students will be able to understand and discuss the inception of a topic that they can directly relate to, as it is a tradition that most children have taken part in. Now, I say most because not everybody is allowed to take part in it. There are some cultural practices within the United States that don't celebrate holidays. So, rather than quizzing my students on the origins of Halloween, I want them to develop a project, like a short documentary, a timeline, slideshow presentation, etc., that demonstrates their level of understanding of the origins of Halloween and the Day of the Dead, and how the traditions associated with the 2 days have influenced modern society. So the challenges that I've had or am facing is probably my articulation, if anything. This is a topic that is interesting to me, and I'm passionate about history and learning the origins of things. So I've experienced a little difficulty in that. So though I suppose I could say that narrowing down a topic or a specific area of focus could be something that I'm having a little bit of difficulty in, and I need to kind of narrow the scope a little bit. So I get a hold of something and my mind explodes and I'm all over the place. So I've been told this before. It's like, you need to narrow your focus because you're, really scattered. So organization and is something that I need to definitely work on, and articulating my thoughts. So, and I look forward to moving forward with this. All right, thank you. And I look forward to hearing your feedback.